Hello and welcome to Connect Her, Lunch and Learn. It's very exciting to have everybody joining us today. So if you are on, don't forget that you do need to give StreamYard permission to see your name. So if you actually go to all the information and comments above, which is just up here, I don't know whether you can see me or not, it'll say give permission StreamYard. You just click on that and say yes, and that will allow us to know who's watching, and also it will let us know too when a comment comes up who is talking or who's giving us the message. Kay Cremond, afternoon lovies. Good afternoon, Kay. Lovely to see you. So we're going to wait, we always wait about a minute or two and just get a few people on board. So if you're on, please do let us know that you're on. We'd love to give you a shout out. Don't forget also, at the end of this broadcast, stay on because we are going to shout out your business. You must be at the end of the broadcast, however. So hi ladies from Karen Galbraith. Hello, lovely to see
Karen.
you. Excellent, and we've got a few more. We'll just wait for find out who's on with us today, and we will then just do one more. And any more? We'll have a quick look. Rightio, I think we will get started because we will have people jump on throughout the broadcast. Colleen, who I've been on the phone to this morning, and she's over in WA. Welcome, Colleen. Great to see you and enjoying. I know you're having some lunch with us, early lunch, no doubt, probably morning tea, more like it. Rightio, let's get started so that we can get all this juicy information that Mary Unwin is going to be sharing with us today, and really looking forward to Mary joining us on the Lunch and Learn. Now also, for those that don't know, this is also recorded and it goes onto our YouTube channel, so if you happen to miss it, and we also download all the audio and that becomes a podcast. So you can take Mary and I around in your ears while you're walking. So there we go. Today's Lunch and Learn, and of course the Connect Her podcast, I have joining me on our studio, Mary Unwin. Now, Mary is a personal development and also a business coach and consultant and development person that does so many amazing things. Heard a lot of fantastic reports around what Mary does and how she helps businesses. But I'm going to let Mary explain a little bit more about what you do, Mary.
Well, what I do is I think of myself as the one who helps you to walk tall, which means standing tall, walking tall in your world. And if you're standing tall, you're looking out at your world. Your heart is here. People can see you. The opposite of that is that you might be playing small, which means perhaps being a bit more self-protected, and looking down, which means you miss out on your world, you miss out on your business opportunities, and your heart is hurting. You could argue that. So I'm inviting people to walk tall as personal professionals or professional people. And it's lovely to have the community here to speak with today. Thank you for the welcome, Lee.
It's absolutely fantastic to have you on. Your business is walktall.com.au, and of course we can find you as Walk Tall on Facebook as well. And you're also known very fondly as Walk Tall Mary. And of course you are lovely and tall as well. Now, you really touched on a subject then when you were talking about, you know, you huddle in. And when you huddle in, you can miss loads of opportunities. Because you're not looking out into the world and stargazing, as I like to say. There's lots of things you can find when you stargaze. So how do you suggest people go from that inner reflection to looking out and stargazing and finding opportunities?
I think it's about getting out of our own way, each of us. We all have a different journey. We've all had a different story of the past, or a number of stories. And our purpose, I would suggest, in life is to move out of our own way, which means there are obstacles, there are happenings which were not very positive for us. That's how we saw them at the time. So I guess when things happen to me, when stuff happens, how can I get out of my own way? What can I learn from this particular situation and allow myself to move forward into a direction that I can choose, because I'm choosing it for myself, not in reaction to some old story back there.
It's very, very important. And you also look at getting people to ask important questions of themselves so that they can step out, they can move forward, and they can walk tall. What are some of the questions that you get people to ask themselves?
I think sometimes I'm often asking people, how can I make the best of this next opportunity or this next challenge? So right at this time, there are lots of things that we need to consider going forward. How can we create opportunities and a sense of purpose, even if it all appears to be difficult and full of obstacles, either our lives or the world in a bigger picture? So really asking people about their purpose. What am I here for?
And it's so really relevant right now, given that we're in different stages of lockdown in different states, because we've got people from all over Australia jumping on today. And of course, on the podcast, we've got people all over the world that listen to us. So welcome to those that are listening to the replay or the podcast, because, you know, we've got people that are in the US, Canada, Europe we have as well. So you're really helping people to unpack what they can do for their business and their personal life. What are some of the strategies, or what are some of the things that we can start doing now, given the fact that we are in all different areas of lockdown, but we're also all handling it very differently as well?
That's a great question, Lee. I think what we can do at the moment, and this is the opportunity of the moment, is to get clear on what's really important for us. So many of my clients are working at the moment on their values. What are my priorities? What are my values? How are they best met in this moment and in the way forward as we move into towards the end of the year? How can I create momentum and action so that my connections with my clients, with my market, are made in a way that is meaningful now and will happen into the future? So what's new in this moment? What's the same? What's special about me? What can I give in business and in life?
I think you really touched on something. What is, because prior to COVID, prior to lockdown, I think a lot of people were on this treadmill of, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, because it was an expectation, it was what you thought you wanted. But this has actually given us an opportunity to say, hey, this might not be working for me anymore, or this is really what my true passion is, or this is what it's brought down to the fact that, you know, not everything is as secure as we always probably thought or took for granted.
Definitely. And that's why we need to set aside our sense of loss of control. We're all having to be flexible to the max, particularly towards the end of March and into April. We were working with uncertainty, a great deal of uncertainty. You know, there were no known answers, and a lot of the questions I was talking with my clients about at that stage were, what in all of this, what can you control? What can you make work for you? What can you adapt to? And what can you hold on to in terms of who you really are in that moment? And all we can really be is resilient and flexible beings who are doing a little bit of a business swivel, if necessary, gently taking ourselves onto some sort of pivot, which we talked about in the last month of Connect Her, of the networking meetings, find our inner resources, talk to someone who can help, which is what I'm all about, make the changes that we need to make to take ourselves onward and upward through this. This is a blip, but it's an opportunity as well.
Absolutely. And all the way through, and we've been on leader meetings, and I've said all along, I just see that this is a huge opportunity. Yes, it can be a blip, And it is a blip, and it's a big blip for some people where, you know, we've got people on the call right now on our live who their whole business has had to not just pivot to a massive swivel. You know, we've got ladies that have businesses where it is go into people's homes and show them products and services, and all of a sudden you can't do that. So they've had to absolutely really learn a whole new set of skills, take them out of their comfort zone, which is huge, learn technology, which may not have been something that was relevant in the past. So that can be very challenging, and that can also be a huge, frightening. It can be very frightening, and that fear can almost stop us.
Exactly. And a classic example this morning, just before this podcast began, or this broadcast with Lee began, I knocked over a glass of water, which I've never done on this table before. It's quite an old table. And my Google decided it wanted to do an update there and then, as happens. All we can do is work with what we've got and make it happen, which is exactly what happened. I called for help. I'm house sharing unusually with my daughter. I haven't lived with her for 10 years. Here she is. Lee and I didn't have any discussion about why, what happened, whatever. We just said, okay, what's next? And worked through, and here we are. So we have to be able to be flexible and bouncy enough. So flexibility, resilience is about not breaking. I always use a piece of paper in my workshops. If you're rigid, you break. If you're flexible, you can move around. I'll show you what this is later, which means you can steer yourself around obstacles. You can breathe in and move through with some grace, which I know many of the Connect Her members have done in terms of taking their product and their services into people's homes with online. And I'm impressed constantly. One of the early meetings of the Connect Her, right at the end of March, one of the last ones, it was actually in a room. One of our loyal Connect Her aficionados said, I'm going to Zoom and boom. So she turned around her home styling business. This is Jane Larson. Many of you know her. And she proceeded to show us all what Zoom and boom really means in terms of moving her business online in a way that allowed her to maintain connection with the people she serves, her own clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where you can either look at it and crumble and not be flexible and just stay. And I've spoken to business owners that have walked away from their business. They've said, I'll just wait and pick it up when everything's back to normal. And that's not necessarily going to happen. You know, normal may not be what it was in 2019, December, or, you know, pre-COVID. So having that flexibility and being able to adapt means that your business will grow and you will grow, and you also become a leader, because if you can show that you can be amazing and adaptable and fluid, then you also become that leader in your community, in your business, in your family.
Absolutely. So you become, I talk about self-leadership as well. The best person we can start with in terms of leadership is ourselves. If we can lead ourselves to becoming our best, to walking tall, then we can help other people. We're an example to our kids. We can be a model for our own families, but we also inspire our customers and our clients to raise their game too. We can be part of that momentum of giving and contribution out and beyond our immediate concerns. And you're a great model for that, Lee, I might say.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that one. Now, Mary, there are some people that have really flown and they've created momentum. They haven't hidden away. They've thought, okay, this is an opportunity. I'm going to go with it and go with that momentum. And there's others that have shied away. What can you share with us that would give those people that shied away a little some new momentum, and maybe those that have had momentum through this, but maybe you're thinking, gee, this is a bit harder than I thought. I need to keep that momentum going. What are some tips that you've got around that?
Tips for when you feel as though you're merely surviving and it's all a bit of a struggle and you're beginning to perhaps feel as though you're underwater would be to look outside yourself for help. So rather than churning over it ourselves and perhaps going down a spiral of towards that real playing small, ending up in on the floor in some sort of fetal position, actually reaching out, asking for help, attending meetings with other like-minded women who are all going through the same sorts of struggles, hearing their tips, getting some inspiration from them, talking to trusted company, whether it's somebody that you know in your own circle or a coach or a mentor, somebody that you know that can take you out of yourself or help you notice what is intuitively great and fabulous and special about you, even when you feel as though you're not the one who is at their best at all in that moment. You're feeling overly challenged. And I've certainly had a couple of clients over this last couple of months who've needed that reassurance that, yes, they do have what it takes, even though they've lost track of it. It's a bit like saying, people say, I've lost my confidence. So the question might be, well, where did you put it? Where is it? It's there. And people like me, coaches and mentors, inspirational company can help you rediscover, re-find, renew your sense of confidence, which is really coming from the heart. It's courage.
Absolutely. And also something that you touched on, Mary, was get outside help to have a look at. Somebody said to me right back when I started Connect Her, oh, everybody knows you, Lee. And it's like, well, no, not everybody knows me because I'm very mindful of how many people I have on my Facebook friends, and I only have friends that I know. And so I don't have this big, 2,000 friends on Facebook. And because that's not important to me. But, they were saying everybody knows you. And I actually didn't realize that there were people that did know me that I didn't know. You're insular into what you think yourself, not necessarily what is a reality. So sometimes you do have to get people to fly your flag for you in front of your face so you can go, this is what it looks like.
To remind you of, oh, remember that time when you did that thing or this thing? You were pretty good at that. Yeah. I've got a friend who's always saying to me, you're good with that, whatever that thing might be, which feels in that moment feels like a bit of imagination. Really? What am I good at? Just remind me. But that's what we're there for as women together in business, to remind each other of what we do well, what we've done well in the past. There are some incredibly impressive women in this group now, in the collective, and on this call, women I've worked with, some of them, who have found their mojo in the times of greatest crisis. And that's what this is. And so it's about finding your own, this is making me come up in goosebumps, finding what's greatest about you and then sharing that with your immediate loved ones and with the world.
Absolutely. Another thing that, and I've seen this on like live at a conference, and I've also seen this done on, like a YouTube or something like that, where you get somebody to have two pieces of paper. The one piece of paper, they have to write all the negative things that they're not good at. And on the other side, they have to write all the things that they're good at. And do you know that they quite often run out of paper on the things that they're not good at? But on the side that they're good at, it's quite often left blank because we don't want to give ourselves credit. We don't want to go, hey, I'm bloody good at this. And, shine my shoes. I'm pretty snazzy at this. Exactly. But we can always go, oh, gee, I can't do this, or no, I can't do that. And it's not even the glass half empty, glass half full. We just sometimes, it's easier to find the negative than it is the positive. So you're about unpacking those positives and making sure that the people can see their own positives.
That's a great analogy, Lee. And sometimes with clients, I've asked them to write out all those negative things and screw that piece of paper up and walk it over throw it over your shoulder. That's who I was back then. Or that's not something about me that I choose to dwell on. Sometimes it's useful to work out why those things are there But very briefly, so the great thing that I love about the coaching, and this also refers to the sort of work that Dr. Vesna was doing, she was on about 2 weeks ago in your community. It's about letting go of those old stories. So I was, for example, I was left-handed at school. This is my left hand. And that was difficult for me because I was therefore the one that was kept in at the end of school because I didn't quite get it right. I was messy. I was doing it back to front from everybody else. And that was a painful experience. And it was not until my 30s that I realized that I am better than that. That was just a thing that happened back then that I can let go of, and I can redefine myself as someone who has got a good eye, does understand that I've got a contribution to make, albeit with a left hand. So letting go of the old stories and grabbing the new and holding on to them even when they seem to have disappeared. You know they're there. They're in your heart. They're in your actions. They're in the evidence. One little tip I've got is you can actually save testimonials on your website and ask for testimonials from people you work with. Keep them in a document on the computer. So when life goes a bit pear-shaped, look them up and think, that's what so-and-so, people I respect, that's what they've said about me and the work that I do or the contribution that I make. And that helps us to listen to others rather than taking ourselves so very seriously that we end up in a pit of despair.
It's amazing that you say that, Mary. I've got 3 handwritten notes that have been sent to me over the years, and they sit up on my pin-up board. They're just up there, and I was doing a big clean-up of the office, and for those that know me, get off the floor. I was really doing it. You don't have to faint. And I had those 3, and I thought, I just can't let them go. I love reading them because, they're heartfelt messages that were sent to me of something that I had achieved over the years. So I love that idea of keeping those testimonials and being able to read them when, when things aren't so fabulous, or you're feeling a little bit jaded, or you are not feeling like you are worthy is another big thing that we do, or that we don't have enough to offer. Yes. And it's amazing that actually Colleen is on watching this live stream today from Budding Creative. She is amazing with her creativity and her wording. She's a very good wordsmith. So quite often I will give her things and, give her a base of what I want and send it off, and she comes back with, this beautifully scripted letter or information. So that is her strength, which is, completely different to my strength. So so we need to embrace our strengths, and they're not always going to be the same as everyone else's.
Totally. So let's appreciate and give some language. I mean, I'm all about language. Give some words. Pay compliments. What is Lee good at? What am I good at? And what is Colleen over in Western Australia? It's good to know, to actually say, gee, you're really good at that thing. And that's partly what I do towards the end of coaching sessions, is actually ask people, what can you acknowledge in yourself that you are doing well right now? And it might be that I'm working hard to move through what I saw back then as being slightly tough times. So I feel a bit vulnerable, but that makes me courageous because I've carried on, still fronting up for business, still there for my clients, and yet going through whatever I might be going through personally. And that's what women do well.
We definitely do, and we certainly have, because I know that I'm looking at the comments and the people that are on today. We've got people that have got, with their industry that they service has closed down. We've got businesses where, like you spoke about Jane Larson, who's got a styling business, and that has, where she would normally go into people's homes, that has closed. We've got mums on that have all of a sudden have had to look after kids as they distance learn. So there's so many things that we've got Lauren Scott who's on. She's she's had to readjust how she looks after her lovely golden oldie clients. So we do adapt, and we do it well. And I think you're right that we have to learn ways of being able to praise ourselves, because that's what gets us up in the morning. That's what says, okay, I can go through that hard day today, or that thing that's not, you know, there's things that we do in our business that we think, oh, I really don't want to be doing that today, but we have to. Mine is my books. So, and everybody's got, you know, something else that they don't. You picked up on that one. That's why I've got a lovely an accountant. I'm not book orientated or number orientated. So, so Mary, looking at all of the things that we're doing, and we're dealing with right now, because as we said, we're all in different stages of lockdown. What are some key tips that we can share today about people, particularly the ladies that are listening today, about stepping out and stepping up and, you know, really just shining bright in their business?
I would say tip number one, keep in touch with your existing clients any way you know. So I've been phone calling people, I've been texting, I've been on Facebook, emailing, connecting with clients who've been loyal to me in the past, and this is my moment to say to them, how's it going? And just have a conversation which could reassure and empower someone to move on to the next day or the next hour. So definitely keeping in touch with clients. I think when we're under any kind of pressure, there's always a cue for me about taking care of myself. So booking in for the online, I call them business brows. That's actually one of Lauren's expressions. Online business brows with Gillian Goodies, who is part of the Connect Her community.
And was on last
week.
Do
something
actually.
To take. She was on last week, exactly. Do something that takes care of yourself, whether it's sitting down quietly with a cup of tea in the sunshine yesterday when it was sunny, calling a friend, comparing notes about how things are going. I've got really good with the earbuds. I didn't use these very much before. So now I can be out in the garden enjoying whatever's going on in the garden. I'm very fortunate. I feel very grateful to be in a place with a garden at the moment. But connecting with friends, connecting with past clients, nurturing, having a bath when you never have a bath, finding 5 ways, and maybe write them down so that when you're under pressure, you can just go through the 5 and work through them. Okay, well, I did the bath yesterday. I'll have the cup of tea in the garden today, as a way of self-nurture. We're all out there trying to keep going, but the person who can most help us is ourselves by taking care of ourselves. I can't wait for a haircut.
I had my hair coloured, and it's gone a bit funny today after looking at it, but I got my hair coloured last Thursday, and I was just so excited to get rid of the greys and get a bit of colour. So I hear you, because you know, if you wear perfume and you smell gorgeous, you feel gorgeous, and your hair is another one, and lippy. I've always
bit of lippy.
Yes, bit of lippy. Absolutely.
And I've also got, Lee, you'll love this. I've also got a couple of magnets. Just before lockdown, early part of March, I went with the family as a celebration of my own birthday. I'm so grateful that I went. We went to Western Australia. So I have the Margaret River and Bustleton Jetty, those 2 wonderful places. Also a big shout out for Rockingham. There's a new Connect Her group in Rockingham. Hello,
yeah.
Rockingham. Really loving the memories of that travelling, and the way that was a classic example of self-care. We weren't visiting England with lots of family who were making all kinds of demands and we were living in their little houses and all of their concerns and intense conversations because you're there for a short time. We were traveling as a family, just 4 of us, enjoying the sights and the sounds of Western Australia. I've lived in Australia from England for getting on for 40 years, never been to Western Australia. I'm just saying, guys, when we are back in the freedom of being able to travel around this beautiful country, let's all go interstate and enjoy. And remember, in the meantime, it's nurturing to remember it now.
Exactly. Look at those magnets and transport yourself back to the beautiful WA weather. They've got 26 on Saturday, by the way. Yes. Now I'm going to do a call out. If you've got any questions for Mary, and we've got some comments that have been coming through, if you've got any questions, pop them in, because there is a little bit of a lag, and we want to make sure that we answer any of your questions. So, but Mary, I know that you've got a special offer. And you did say that there was a drum roll to this, so
Oh, drum roll.
I hope you can hear that. That you have got a special offer, which is your best foot forward. I'm going to leave that with you to reiterate and go through more.
Well, as you know, Walk Tall women, those of you who've spoken with me before, I'm all about the boots and walking tall. I have a program called Reboot Your Life. And I have a new pair of birthday boots, which I've only worn out once because my birthday was so near the end of March. So my offer to you is to go to the website, sign up, and that will allow you to access a free ebook called Best Foot Forward, which is about you finding your best ways to walk tall. I think it's 7 steps to allow you to be your best, to be your walk tall best. How can I walk tall in this moment? And I also wanted to say, this one, I've got a little, what's this called, a notepad? And that's also an offer for you. If you connect up with the Connect Her Collective page and private message me that way, I will send you one of these, which is a pad all for you to write your to-do list about when you're going to have the bath and when you're going to attend to your clients and all the rest. So that's my Walk Tall notepad, many of you know. But I'm happy to send them out.
Fantastic. So we've got the Best Foot Forward ebook. And if you, well, everybody's in the collective already, but if you're listening to the podcast or you're watching the replay, then you've got the book as well, Mary Unwin at walktall.com.au. But that website, that's the main one, is Walk Tall Mary. Walktall.com.au. I always call you Walk Tall Mary because everybody, they go, oh, do you know Walk Tall Mary?
Well, it was actually started, Lee, there's a story behind it because I used to sign off emails back in the day when all we used was emails with Walk Tall Mary. And so when I met somebody at a networking face-to-face and they said, oh, I know you, Walk Tall Mary. So it became it kind of grew and I hadn't really planned it, but I'm very happy to take it. I actually do have the name on Facebook. So if you put that in, you'll find me. You'll also find me under my straightforward name, which is here, which is Mary Unwin.
Very good, very good. Now I am going to go to all the comments because we've had a few that have come through and we're going to share those. So let's have a look and let's get those comments up. So Jane Larson, who we mentioned that she has had to go to Zoom and Boom, has said it's been an absolutely amazing ride. So well done. We've got Kay Cremond that said great ideas. So excellent. I hope you've been able to take some tips away, Kay. We've also got Colleen that says thanks for the praise, Lee Cummins. So yes, and well worth it too. Saved my butt on many occasions. Lauren Scott, I did a great workshop with Mary where we all had a piece of butcher's paper stuck to our back. Everyone had to go around and write on everyone's sheet of paper what they think of them. We then looked at the comments people had written about us on each of our sheet of paper. It was a lovely way to acknowledge how our peers recognise our strengths. Love that. What people are saying behind your back. Kay, she's been having baths during the day. Absolutely fantastic. Karen Galbraith, highly recommend Mary's workshop. I participated in this in December 2013, which changed completely the direction of my business. That is awesome. And Karen is also our guest author for our topic of the month for Connect Her, which is all about connecting with your clients and customers, maintaining, retaining and connecting, and which is what you touched on, Mary, that, you know, we should be getting out there and connecting with our clients and being in touch with them and reaching out to them.
And and that piece, the focus topic, is written by Karen Galbraith, who has just made comments on this today. And Karen was always is an expert in customer relationships, how to stay in touch. People don't realize how important they are unless we ring them and remind them. How are you doing? That's a very special extra service we can offer to our clients.
Absolutely. Which leads us on to Jacqueline Smith. Mary, I've been reaching out to my clients, and when we talk through things, they realise they don't have to manage their troubles alone, which is true, very, very true.
Great, that's great.
And we all need someone to have a chat with and to do a download, or just to be there, have an ear. So, but of course, you take it more than just being an ear, because you're giving some really good practical tools for people to use in these times.
That's the plan, for you to find and develop your own tools. We're all different. All the tools and the strategies that we might use, the steps we might take, are going to be different for each person. And that's what my work is, to find what works for you.
And help us all to find out how to back ourselves, how to, be the business owner that we want to be the mum, be the wife, be the person. So,
well, the professional person.
We've all got these hats. Yeah,
that's
we've all
right.
got these different hats.
So how can I be my best? How can I wear my own crown? Maria Davis is another Connect Her person. Talks about wearing the crown, being the queen of our own domain, rather than looking for someone else to look after us. We're actually able to do that and look after ourselves, because we have done some powerful conversation making, purposeful conversations with mentors, with coaches, with anyone who inspires us to take us up to the next level.
Definitely. So, Mary, we can find out all about you at walktall.com.au. You have the Best Foot Forward ebook, which is, just go to the website walktall.com.au. If you'd like to get in touch with Mary, it's Mary Unwin at walktall.com.au, which is your email address. So if you'd like to connect with Mary directly, you can just pop onto her email. But head on over to walktall.com.au, grab that ebook, be inspired to be the best version of you that you possibly can be, because you want to be proud of yourself, and why not? Why not be the best you can be? Everyone else is taken.
It's much happier being you, the best you can be for you.
Exactly. Do you have any more tips or points that you'd like to share?
I think it's always nice to end up with some sort of pearl of wisdom. So I think it's about trusting your intuition, that you know what is best for you, and say yes to yourself. Yes, I'm worth that massage booking. Yes, it's worth me getting some professional development in my business so I can learn and be better at what I do.
Yes.
Say yes.
And it's amazing, because it's funny you say that. Things like a massage, I'll say, I'll do that when. And I never actually give myself permission to go and have that massage, or it's always got to be, or go and do that extra walk. So it's giving yourself permission to give yourself a hug.
And you can do that right now. You can actually do this.
Yes, let's all do it. So
we did good. We're getting professional development over our lunch times.
Exactly. So, Mary, I want to thank you so much for being on our Lunch and Learn, and also being part of the Connect Her community. As everybody is aware, I'm sure Mary is one of our Connect Her leaders. She's got Connect Her Hawthorne. I was going to say Hampton for some reason. Hawthorne, and is one of our fantastic leaders. Really ideal to head on over and find out more about going to a Connect Her meeting run by Mary. Don't forget to that website, walktall.com.au. Mary,